Welcome back to The Rewind. I'm your host, Spencer Tracy. We are here for episode number 40 and returning to the pod. First time I've had a guest back-to-back episodes, but it's for good reason. We've got Gabe Estevez with us yet again. Gabe, welcome back. We are here to break down the remaining big trades of the trade deadline. If you missed this last episode for number 39, we broke down the Giants trade deadline, all the prospects return, what that looks like for the future. So we won't be covering any of that. So definitely go check that out. Gabe, yeah, we've got a lot to cover, man.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be very fun. A lot of good teams made trades. And yeah, can't wait to dive into it.
Yeah, we've been texting back and forth, getting ready for this pod, being like, which ones do you want to cover? Which ones do I want to cover? And we're kind of going back and forth through deciding how we want to cover this. But I think we're just going to go. We're going to talk about the two big ones to start, and then we'll each kind of break down some of the other trades that happened. But overall, you got to be pretty entertained with this deadline, Gabe. I mean, like, there was moves all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, starting with the Dodgers, I mean, getting Tarik Skubal was obviously the talks for a while, but seeing it actually happen a day before the actual deadline was pretty crazy. And honestly, non-biased is pretty cool for the Dodgers. I mean, it's hard to ignore how not greedy they are, but how much they want to win. And you got to respect them for going all in and getting arguably the best pitcher in baseball still, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean,
Dodgers,
we're just getting straight to it. Yeah, the Dodgers and the Tigers finally settled, put in stone of where Tarik Skubal was going. I mean, that's been the talk of the town. I think the only trade rumor that's been going on longer than that is probably Sandy Alcantara for the last couple seasons. But Skubal finally goes. Tigers hold on to him in the offseason, and they realize they're just going to get what they can from the back-to-back two-time Cy Young winner, Tarik Skubal, as you mentioned, the best pitcher in baseball. Yeah, so they give up something. So Tarik Skubal goes down to LA, and back for Detroit is outfielder Zaire Hope, one of their many thriving outfielders in that system. He's the 25th prospect in baseball, according to MLB Pipeline. And then he's the number 2 in the Tigers organization. And in return, they also get right-handed pitcher River Ryan, who was a former kind of relatively high prospect for the Dodgers in that system over the past couple of years. But he's 27 now, so no longer classified as a prospect, really. And then Brady Smith, another right-handed pitcher from the Dodgers organization. First thing that comes to mind, Gabe, right, is, who won the trade? Who won? And
yeah, I mean,
I think the problem with that question here, Gabe, is we've both said it. This is the best. You're trading away the best pitcher in baseball for 2 months plus some postseason run, some huge games. I really don't think you win this trade, no matter what. There's really no world the Tigers come back winners here. You're trading away the best pitcher in baseball. You worsen your rotation by doing this, and you took your best player off the team. So you got worse from this right now. You got worse. The organization as a whole, there's something to dream on with Zaire Hope and Max Clark in the outfield or on Kevin McGonigal. Like, that's a 3-headed monster. That's a little promising, but I just think you lose this no matter what. So you can't pay yourself too much for the Tigers.
Yeah, I try to paint the picture here as best as I can and make it make sense. But I think if you're looking at the Tigers organization and you're looking internally, like putting yourself in their shoes, is it a loss if you can't re-sign him and you get nothing out of him in the free agency time or period? So I guess internally, if they felt or if they knew that they weren't going to get him back in the offseason, then this is a win in my opinion. Looking at it internally, kind of similar to the Shohei situation, right? I mean, to me, when we all knew he was going to leave in his final year with the Angels. I think I mean, there was some talks that the Rays were willing to give up like a guy like Caminero to the Angels, and I mean, the Angels probably, smacking themselves on the knee a little bit for that. You kind of regret that if you're the Angels, moral of the story. So if you're the Tigers looking at it internally, to me, it's a dub if they couldn't get Skubal back on the team um, after the season. And looking at the guys they got back, I mean, Zaire Hope has a ton of upside and has a safe overall profile. He's very physical, very projectable, and yeah, I believe he has a very high floor, and the ceiling is just immense. River Ryan's not, you look at him, you're like, oh, River Ryan, really? Like, yes, this guy is a decent pro. He's coming back from injury, but in my opinion, he did show some flashes right before he got hurt. I believe he had Tommy John, but Detroit's a very underrated development system in my opinion, and they've had a decent history of turning guys' careers around a bit. Maybe not turning their careers around, but putting them on the right trajectory. I know Torkelson started off slow with them, and they got him figured out a little bit. And then Casey Mize started off slow, battled with injury, came back and is pretty good. Obviously, now he's gone um, via trade. Um, but I think these two players are very can be very good. Obviously, Zaire River Ryan's definitely like more of a throw in, but he has shown ability to be productive in the pros, and you just never know. And if the school ball ends up signing with another team, I know in the offseason there was a comment that he would love to talk to the Tigers, which is a little crazy if they were able to get him back. But
Yeah.
but but yeah, I mean, I agree with your point. I think looking at it from outside in, obviously Dodgers definitely won this trade, but internally, if the Tigers weren't going to sign him anyways, then to me it's a W.
Yeah, I really like your point there. I think you're right. The Tigers are a very underrated organization when it comes to player development. I mean, you pulled some great examples. Look what they did to Kevin McGonigal. This was not
Mhm.
a he was picked out of the first round. Like he was fully developed. Look how great they did with Max Clark. I mean, you talked about it last episode. There's only so you can. It's great to have natural raw talent, but to really have them reach their ceiling, that's where the organization steps in and their player development. And you can look at some veterans, dude. I mean, they turned Gleyber Torres, a guy who was just on a 1 year deal. They made him a very reliable second baseman, especially in the batter's box and help them, make some runs in the postseason over the past couple seasons. And Javier Baez, I mean, one of the worst contracts in baseball. They made him an all-star in a completely different position. I
Yep.
mean, if that doesn't tell you this organization can, you know, make something out of nothing, I mean, that is something. If I'm a player that's like struggling, like that's something I'm definitely looking towards.
Yep.
I think, yeah, go ahead.
No, yeah, you're good. I think like we could talk about the school ball trade all day and talk about what they could have got. And I just wanted to say one point. I just don't know how the Tigers aren't asking for at least Emmett Sheehan back in this deal, along with
Yeah,
River Ryan. Brady Smith, personally, even though I keep up with prospects, not really too knowledgeable on him. Saw his stats, saw the video. Honestly, the video looked pretty good, but the stats aren't adding up to it. But I just don't know if you're the Tigers, how you don't ask for a better player back. They're like, I guess it's not more so on the Tigers. It's just like the MLB trade market. It's just so interesting. Like, I feel like relief pitchers are a premium right now. Like to me, obviously, in the prospect world or in the MLB trade world, like a guy like Dyer Hope is worth the house. So him and Skubal, I guess in that world it makes sense. But just looking at it from the fan and outside in perspective, I don't know how the Tigers aren't asking for a better pitching prospect or a more proven asset. Because I think even if it's Sheehan and Hope for Skubal. I think it's a win for the Tigers, in my opinion. You get that, you know, potential ace upside at a younger age, and then you get Zaire, and obviously Sheehan's a proven player, and he has a lot more to prove. I think he's really good. So yeah, I just don't know how the Tigers don't really ask for Sheehan in a deal like this, and I was pretty surprised. I know initially he was in the deal. I don't know what the
it was
communication
talked
was
about,
there.
man. It was definitely talked
Yeah,
about.
yeah. So
Um,
a little disappointing,
yeah,
but yeah.
yeah, it was definitely talked about. You know, like that team is so deep in pitching, man. Like you could totally grab some of their pitching talent. Like they wouldn't even feel Emmett Sheehan. I know they're getting, they're hurt, but they're getting Glass now back. They're gonna get. They just got Snell back, who was absolutely dominant in his start. So I totally agree with you. I think you'd still get some people that would say, they lost the trade, even if they threw in Sheehan for instead of, River Ryan um or Brady Smith. So, but I do think the rotation's in a good spot. I gotta give him credit. I think they made the right decision trying to get something for him. Um, but with that being said, despite losing the two-time Cy Young Award winner, this team is kind of on a roll. Two,
Yeah.
this rotation is still going to be able to swim during this, despite taking
Hmm.
a couple jabs here, or this big jab by losing their ace and the ace of the league. I mean, dude, Troy Melton is the best pitcher in baseball since June 1st. He's got a 1.47 ERA. That is better than any pitcher in baseball right now. He absolutely dominated the Giants this past weekend.
Hmm.
Jackson Jobe also came out and shoved off the IL. We probably forgot about his name. He was one of the highly regarded pitching prospects in baseball and looked absolutely awesome on the bump. Framber Valdez, not probably worth that contract, but a 4.12 ERA, that's pretty solid for like a number 4, number 3 guy, right? You'll take that, especially with what he's capable of doing and with postseason experience. And then the guy who's probably going to slide in from the rotation in replacement of Skubal, probably Kiter Montero. Who's Kiter Montero? He's got a 3.5 ERA and over 100 innings pitched this season as a starter. This guy is a capable starting pitcher. I think he's not going to go very deep into games, but he can give you like 5 innings of like some real legit work. And I think for a team pushing for a playoff spot, you need your ace. I think Troy Melton is still that guy. I think he's just so good. I mean, dude, the curveball falls off the table. The fastball hits mid to high 90s. What else do you want? He's got multiple pitches. He can get you out in different ways. It can be via the strikeout. It can be via weak contact. I still think I think this is what I hope this is what Scott Harris was thinking when he made this trade was, you know what? We're going to trade Skubal because, we're still under 500, but I think they have enough data, enough evidence from these guys like Melton. They have some faith in Jobe to come back and dominate. Montero has proven enough as a starting pitcher that, there's 3 guys. Plus you've got, Framber, so I think they have enough information from when Skubal did hit the IL earlier this year to where, we can still kind of compete in this weak AL. And then they're obviously getting, Max Clark too, being a call up, not from a trade, obviously. So I do think there's something here in Detroit as well, despite what, when you trade someone that big, that with that much value, you go to they're probably selling at the deadline. I think they can still compete. They're only 2 games out from Chicago as of August 12th when we're recording this.
Yeah, and I'm not sure the status of River Ryan. I haven't really been keeping up with him.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if he's still hurt or going to play, but if he's able to play and be productive, I mean, like it just makes sense. Like the Tigers, that's why I don't want to knock on them too much. They're a really smart organization. They know what they're doing. Um, they don't necessarily like need to fill that A spot. Yes, it's nice to have that to have a Cy Young winner there. But at the end of the day, he was on the team the past 2 years and they just couldn't get it done. Like they need more on the offensive end, in my opinion. And hopefully one day Zaire can fill that hole for them. So I get it from the Tigers. Ideally, like in the perfect world, you want to keep Skubal, but just looking at it from the outside in, they did the best they could, and I hope for the best for them because they are a fun team to watch, especially with the young guys like McGonigal and Clark now. So yeah, can't wait to see them keep competing for the rest of the year.
absolutely. All right, let's move on to the next big trade, which kind of caught everyone by surprise just a little bit. The Boston Red Sox and the Baltimore Orioles, an in-division trade, which happened a couple times in this deadline game. The Boston Red Sox acquire catcher and former first overall pick Adley Rutchsman and Jake Rogers for Anthony Ianson, Kyson Witherspoon, Endy Azokar, Carlos Alvarez, Major League catcher, and a 19-year-old prospect outfielder, Harold Rivas. Rivas?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Rivas.
Yeah.
Ianson is the number one prospect in the Orioles system right off the bat. He's 49th in Major League Baseball. Kyson Witherspoon, first round pick by the Red Sox. He is not in the top 100, but he is seventh in the Orioles system right now. Endy Azokar also slides in the top 10, right behind Witherspoon at number 8 in the Orioles system. Navarez will be probably the replacement in the Major League roster for Rutchsman, and then Rivas falls in at 26. However, he's a bit more of a project. He's only 19 years old.
Yeah. I'll like allude to the two players I like the most from this trade for the Orioles side. I think them getting Anthony Ianson and Kyson Witherspoon are very good. And they're my favorite two players that they got because I just think the Orioles, they're an interesting team. They kind of had it all. They had the best farm system around 2 years ago. All those guys came up and not really making the production that we thought they were going to make. Granted, Kobe Mayo's having a decent year. Gunner's still Gunner. Obviously, he's taken a hit a little bit, in my opinion. But Holiday's kind of nowhere to be seen. And Calger's been okay as well. Like I can go on and on, but I feel like their farm system has been a little bit disappointing in the major leagues, which is tough to see. And I feel like they're in a place where they're like stuck in the middle and they just got to pick a route to go. So unfortunately, uh, trading Adley was the decision they made. I'm a huge Adley guy, just probably how everyone is. Obviously, a former number one overall pick. I still think Adley has a ton of upside. I just think he just needed to change of scenery. So him going to the Red Sox is great. So we'll get to that in a second. Um, but I do like the Orioles attacking right away just to get two future arms that, in my opinion, are going to be pretty good. I don't want to take too deep of a dive to talk about these guys because one, I still want to do more research on them, and two, they're just so young in their career still, and there's a lot more to be seen. So. Yeah, for the Orioles to really get benefit out of this, they got to just develop these two guys at the highest level. If these two guys are able to make an impact sooner rather than later, then it's a great trade. But I do like the mindset of the Orioles looking to get two high upside arms in this move. But yeah, I mean they're in a weird spot where they definitely got to pick a route, either trading their guys or just looking to sign others.
Yeah, I think I think my biggest takeaway really is from the Orioles side. I think the prospects is everyone's talking about the return, right? The return, and
Yeah,
reasonably so, man. I mean, Kai San's, it takes him maybe 6 months, half a season, or one good season, at whatever minor league levels he's at, high A or at double A, and he's probably right back in the top 100. Like, there's a reason why he was taken as high as he was in the MLB draft not too long ago. Pair that with Ianson, two top 100 prospects. I mean, that's a pretty hefty return. Plus, I've heard good things about Azakar in the outfield and what he could provide at the major league level potentially. So there is a lot to be excited about for the Orioles, whose system, a lot, when Adley was in the minors and he was getting called up, Gunnar was still a rookie. They still had a really really good farm system. And everyone's like, "Oh, you got to win now. You got like they're coming off like 100 win season, most wins in like organization history, I'm sure." And go strengthen your major league level with how much depth you have. You still had Norby coming up, Kyle Stowers. You still had Grayson Rodriguez making his way back. They still had all these names. People would like make a push, make a push, make a push. Never really did that. And I think now that we've kind of passed that kind of era, this is kind of a weak system, and I think this is a good way to add some talent into your minor leagues because they're going to need it. But I think my biggest point here, Gabe, the Orioles probably won this trade. You can debate that based on like the return, and giving up Adley. Maybe it was a change of scenery. I still like Adley a lot. I think they lost this trade. I think the
I
fan
agree.
base lost this trade. Dude, they signed Adley Rutchman. This team was down in the dumps, man. This team hadn't won a playoff game in decades. Like, this is one of the sadder franchises, with all due respect. Adley was supposed to be their guy. Very quickly gets called up. He's the guy. I mean, 2022 when he gets called up, they win 83 games and he leads the team in WAR. Following year, they won 101 games. Year after that, 91. Year after, and then just kind of starts to fall off as Adley Rutchman falls off, right? 2025, he had his worst season. He went from a 20 home run guy to barely to not to staying in single digits, hit under 250. What happens to the team? They're winning 75. They're only winning 75 games this season. Little bit better, still not like the Adley Rutchman. Everyone's, the number one pick overall, Adley Rutchman. Where are they now? 58 wins, 4 games under 500, in one of the better divisions in baseball. Like there's a little bit of that. So it's just a sad way for the era to
Yeah.
end in Rutchman. I know they're really excited about Basayo, but to me, this is heartbreaking, man. Like this was their Buster Posey. This was
Yeah.
their rookie of the year. Their all-star catcher behind the dish, switch hitter, middle of the order guy, easy guy to like. And he just went cold. He battled some injuries. They struck gold with Basayo. So it makes sense. It makes sense. And we knew it was coming when they extended Basayo. I think this is just heartbreaking for the Orioles. Despite being all excited about all these prospects, you can be excited about all these guys all you want, but I think deep down the Orioles are pretty heartbroken that they have to watch Adley Rutchman play in their division. I may also add.
Yeah. Yeah, it is tough. I mean, when he came in, I think the first comparison that he drew, even though he wasn't a switch hitter, was Posey. I mean, I think when he came into the league, it was an era where catchers weren't really producing offensively at a high level. And yeah, when Adley came in, the switch hitting upside was there, and then he came into the league and was pretty damn good. So yeah, if I was an Orioles fan, I'd be pretty upset. But I think just the play of the major league team put the front office in a tough spot. I mean, when you're a front office and you have a top farm system, it's kind of tough to trade those guys because you want to believe in what you got. And I mean, that farm system, looking at it 2 years ago, I mean, any fan would be like, yeah, these guys are going to be insane. So unfortunately, I just didn't end up happening, and the front office they were in a tough spot that they couldn't really get out of. So trading Adley was the answer they came up with, and hopefully it doesn't bite him too much because, like you said, it's an in-division move, and you never really want to see that, especially with a guy like Adley who's relatively still young. I think he's 28 years old now. So
And
yeah,
he's
I mean they're going to
awesome
see
behind
him.
the plate defensively. Like
Yeah.
Boston's gonna love that. All right, Gabe. Let's carry on to our own. We both kind of have our own trades that we're gonna dig into. I'll let you start, and then I'll follow with another trade that I'll break down.
Yeah. I think my favorite, I guess, trade partners from my side was the Brewers and Cardinals, and it worked hand in hand because they traded with each other. The Brewers acquired Dustin May and Jojo Romero. And for this trade, they sold Alexander Frias and Josiah Ragsdale. I think the Brewers getting Dustin May is, I think, my second favorite move of the deadline, and I'll keep my main one, and I'll be biased. I'll keep it as Marcelo Meyer for the Giants from last episode of our podcast. But yeah, Dustin May's current stats: 4.15 ERA, a 21.1 K percentage. He's lowered the walk rate this year, posting a 2.97 walk per nine, and currently has a third lowest FIP in his career, sitting at a 3.26 FIP. This is an amazing get for the Brewers because Dustin May has always had upside. He's always had talent, and we talked about it last episode. The Brewers are arguably the best development team when it comes to pitching. So, moral of the story, they're going to completely unlock this guy, and we're doing this trade deadline stuff about around a week and a half later. He's already had 2 quality starts with around 5 to 6 strikeouts, and it's just no surprise. I hope fans are all like, oh my God, the Brewers did it again. Well, they can say that, but it's just obvious. So let's just not say that. Let's just be like, oh, well, the Brewers got Dustin May. He's going to be a dog. What this means long term, I honestly hope the Brewers keep him. And I'm saying that number one because I traded for him in my Dynasty League, and I want him to stay on the Brewers and just be him for the rest of his career. But in the short term, I guess, he can help this team win because he's going to be able to be in big spots. The Brewers are going to completely unlock him, and I think he can get any hitter out with the stuff that he has. I still think he has the upside. I've always believed in what he could do, and it's fun to see him in a great system where he could really thrive, especially with that pitching staff that they got. And I think the Brewers losing Woodruff, who's always hurt, it seems like, is a big loss because he's damn good. But May's gonna fill that spot and be a strong number two, number three for them over there, and be a higher profile number two, number three. So happy to see him go there. And then yeah, regarding Jojo Romero, honestly, a really underrated snag by the Brewers. He's very reliable. He's had more of a down year in 2026, but obviously he went to the Brewers and he should look to be even better over there. What I like about Romero, he excels at securing holds and getting outs in big moments. And like I said, I believe the Brewers will just fully unlock his ability to be productive for the rest of the season, especially as a left-handed pitcher. Now going forward to the Cardinal side, the Brewers gave up Bragsdale, and to me, he's a very exciting prospect. Throughout this year, he's batting 308 with a 157 WRC plus. He has 21 home runs and 31 stolen bases as well. For me, Ragsdale is everything that you look for in a prospect. Someone who's going to spray the ball or spray the baseball with power, steal bags, and truly give you overall great offensive production. And yeah, this is an exciting get for the Cardinals in general. And then Alexander Frias, he has played both rookie and A-ball in 2026 and is hitting .337 with 8 home runs, 22 stolen bases, and a .960 OPS. He's just 18 years old, left-handed hitter. He has a great hit tool, and he has a lower K rate for his age, 18.8%, which is pretty good. And his walk rate's around, it's pretty moderate at 10.5%. But honestly, he has an overall well-rounded profile that favors all-around offensive upside with plenty of room to grow. So I think this is a win-win trade. It makes sense for both sides, and I really hope they can help the Brewers get over the hump of kind of just being in the playoffs and kind of being first to second round exits. But yeah, I think it's a win-win trade and my favorite overall deal of the deadline so far.
Yeah, one of the ripple effects of the Tarik Skubal trade, right? Like, I know the Brewers were reported to have made an offer on Skubal, and obviously, being the Tigers, you got to take the best one available. Whatever they had to offer was not as good as the one we just discussed. So, but I think this was a great pivot. I think they got a lot of flack for not landing Skubal for one, and then for two, being satisfied with pivoting to May and going from Tarik Skubal to May is a huge step down. But I don't know. I do. You said it, man. I mean, you hit the head right on the nail, man. Like, the upside that May had when he was with LA, going to Boston, kind of forget about his name, wasn't very good, and found something in St. Louis, and you're like, holy crap, this is the guy that we've been talking about since like the beginning of this decade. And then you put him in that Brewers jersey. It's the same feeling I got when I found out Kyle Harrison was going to the Brewers.
It's the
Like,
same
I was
thing.
like, dude, this kid, they're gonna do something to him. They might not. He might just thrive there. And now you're looking at a rotation with Kyle Harrison coming back from injury, who looked awesome. 10 strikeouts through, I think, 5 or 6 innings in his first start back from the IL. Looks great. Then you got Mizorowski. You mentioned Woodruff. I don't know how much time he's missing, but regardless,
he's out for the year.
He's out for the year. Okay.
Yeah.
So you got those 3 guys plus your 4th guy, Shane Drohan, who I think is great. He's stellar. I think he's another product of the Milwaukee Brewers pitching development lab, whatever they're doing in there. I'm sure a lot of teams would love a look at that. But yeah, May, just a lot of movement on his pitches, man. It just, you kind of watch him throw for a couple innings and see him mix around what he has in his pitch arsenal, and you understand why hitters have such a tough time timing him up and hitting him. He's a real threat. And then you get a little Jojo Romero lefty out of the bullpen too as well. It's interesting. Overall, do you think this is a pretty fair trade, or do you lean towards Milwaukee? You lean towards St. Louis?
I think I would lean St. Louis because we don't know what's going to happen long term with May and the Brewers.
Yeah.
Either way, like whatever May does this year, to me, that's like in a weird way ceiling because he's already with the team. Granted, it's only going to be from August to October, but I think whatever they do with him now is the best that they're going to get out of him. And I'm just personally, I just like guys like Ragsdale who have an all around profile. I mean, I look for guys that obviously can hit 20 plus home runs and get bases. So essentially, I like to find guys that are going to be a guaranteed 2020, at least in the minor leagues. Obviously, you project that you want them to project to do that in the major leagues as well. And I think Ragsdale can do that. And I think it's really smart for the Cardinals. They're building something really really special over there. Just today, Baseball America had them number 2 overall. So definitely a very exciting system. And yeah, Frias is honestly a lot of people are really high on him. The public consensus is there. So he carries that, and that alone has a lot of value. So I lean the Cardinals on this one, but it makes sense for the Brewers, and they're not really losing anything because guess what? Their farm system is stacked, absolutely stacked. So they were more than able to afford this deal.
I mean, we talked about catchers too with Adley and how important they are. They've got 2 catchers that I keep hearing a lot about, which, I mean, for the catching position, you're probably not going to hear too often unless you're talking about
Yeah.
Ethan Salas or Von Lackey until those guys make their debuts. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, Reynel Rodriguez, our number 1 guy, he's only 19 years old. He's projected to make his debut in less than 2 years in 2028. And then not too far down the line there, you have at number 6, Leo Bernal, another catcher, and he's a switch hitter too. So they're going somewhere with it. They got Liam Doyle so they're, yeah, very exciting. All right, I'm gonna change gears over here to the Philadelphia Phillies. We talked about them a little bit on the Giants side of things. So if you want to hear us more in that, go to the most recent episode 39, where Gabe and I did all the Giants trades, especially this Phillies trade where the Phillies acquired Luis Ariz and Caleb Killian for Ramon Marquez, starting pitcher, and Marty Gare, a relief pitcher. I mainly want to talk about Luis Ariz in a Phillies uniform. We talked about the other 2 guys a lot more. But how is Luis Ariz going to fit onto this team here? That's where things get really interesting, right? Because you've got Bohm at third, Harper at first, shortstop you've got Turner, and at second base you have Stott. Fairly decent at their positions. Turner's been horrible at short. Stott is as a 6 outs above average at second base. He's a very reliable defender. And then Schwarber's at DH. So you've got nowhere to put an extra defender, right? DH is taken up by Schwarber. So where does Ariz fit into this equation? Well, he has been very adamant about playing second base, respectfully so. He bet on himself this offseason, and he's checked in he's won. He's going to get some money in the offseason, being found leading the NL in batting average. So he's going to slide in at second. They're going to move Stott to third, which puts Bohm at first base and Harper in right field. This lineup is real nasty, Gabe. This lineup is real nasty. They're hitting Ariz cleanup, which I really like. The Giants hit him leadoff, but I really like him hitting cleanup. Right behind Harper, right behind Schwarber, right behind Turner, all those guys. I love that spot for him because this is a team that kind of struggles a little bit with runners in scoring position. And if you get these guys on base, guys that get walked a lot, Schwarber, guys who, extra base hits, put themselves immediately in scoring position, Harper, Turner. You want a guy behind them to knock them in. Luis Ariz does that. I mean, he was fantastic with the Giants, but with runners in scoring position. They needed someone who can hit left-handed hitting. Ariz, they were searching for a right-handed bat, to combat that. Ariz, being left-handed hitter, hits lefties just fine. Perfect. The defense is where it gets interesting, though. Boom. At first base, as a first baseman, -3 outs above average. Ariz, very good defender at second base this year. Trey Turner, -6 outs above average at shortstop. Bryson Stott, 6 outs above average at second base. Move him over to third base, 1 outs above average. So you get a worser defensive Stott with way less experience at the hot corner. Then you throw Bryce Harper from first base to right field, which was his natural position, but due to injuries and just kind of wear and tear, they moved him over to first base. Now you move him back over to the outfield. He hasn't played in the outfield since 2021, Gabe. 2021. That was the last time the Giants had a winning record as well. Feels like ages ago. So I get all that. I'm interested in your take as well here, Gabe. Your offense takes a major step, and your defense is pretty vulnerable right now. And I think when it comes to the postseason, that's going to be really exposed way more than it will be over the next 2 months of the season. However, we're not stupid, us being the fans and media, I guess. Dave Dombrowski, their GM, is not stupid. We know this. He knows this. I have my doubts, but I think it just might work. I think it just might work itself out, man. Like maybe you take some steps back defensively, but as long as Harper isn't like hurting himself, I don't need like Gold Glove Harper in right field. I don't. I just need, Marshall's a fine defender in left field. He's good. You got Crawford, the rookie, in center field. I think it's gonna bite you at times. You just gotta hope it's not like, a high
The wrong time.
leverage. When it comes down to it. I just think this offense, dude. This offense is really fun. And the Phillies have made the postseason, and they've had these deep runs with mid to bad defenses in the past. So I think Dave Dombrowski did not go into this being, oh man, where am I going to put all my guys? Where are they
Yeah.
going to go? I think he knew what he was doing here, and I think Harper knew what he was doing here, and that's why I think they're going to figure it out.
Yeah, I agree. And honestly, I kind of hate talking about defense. I just love talking about offense.
Yeah.
So I am I'm on the Philly side if that's what their mindset was, or obviously it was. So what you alluded to, yeah, I mean, if Arias is able to hit, obviously, guess what? They acquired a plus defender. Shout out to Ron Washington. I mean, Arias is having a great year defensively, which is honestly not that surprising considering that we had Ron. But good for him. I think it more also you got to give some credit to Arias. I think he came in, hungry to get better at that spot because that's like one of the main reasons why he didn't get signed in the first place from other teams and got a bigger contract. So for the Phillies acquired not only a great hitter but also a pretty damn good defender. Arias is super fun in that lineup. He also has a ton of fun energy that you want to see, especially
Yeah.
with the fan base. He'll connect with the fan base with Philly a ton. I'm already seeing him do that. With after a walk, he'll get hyped after a RBI base hit. He gets hyped, and the Philly crowd feeds off that. And I think the Phillies team themselves feed off of that as well. And they've been a good team for years. They're consistent. They've been to a World Series. Unfortunately, didn't win it. And they're a team that could win the World Series every year. They just got to put it all together. But yeah, you hit it. You hit the nail on the coffin there. I mean, if a defensive moment happens at a bad moment, dude, that just sucks. Like it just sucks.
Bite the bullet.
But
I think they're ready for it.
But to be fair, that could happen to any team on any given day. So
yeah.
So
yeah, kind of tough to think back on that, given how their season ended last year. With Orion Kerkering and the ball back to the mound on the walk-off against the Dodgers. But hey, that's the pitcher. That's not Bryce Harper in right field. All right. Gabe, your next team. Hit me.
Yeah. So it's tough to not say LA is a winner. That's an obvious choice of the deadline. But I think I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say I think the Rays won the deadline. Might be a hot take. But the Rays traded with the Mets, Marlins, and Orioles on the deadline. They got back 3 key players. They got back Freddie Peralta, Liam Hicks, and Tyler Wells. Just like Dustin May, Freddie Peralta going to the Rays is also a bit unfair. He's an amazing addition. Similar to Dustin May, like I said, he went to the right destination that will fully unlock his upside. I think Peralta and the Mets simply was just not a good fit. Even though he was having a pretty good year, just think they weren't winning games. And the vibe of the Mets this year has been very off with the signings they've had as well. I believe he's going to make a huge impact for the Rays and be a key player in the postseason. I mean, this is a guy that is coming off a solid career with the Brewers. He knows what he's doing. He's already unlocked his ability to be the best he could be. And going to the Rays, when it comes to the Brewers and Rays, they're neck and neck when it comes to development. So this is the move that it's just sneaky because the Rays were in talks with many teams to get starters. I know they were in talk with the Giants to get both Arias and Ray, but personally, I would go Peralta in the rankings and then May. I'd rather have Peralta. I just think he's a bit more talented. Obviously, Peralta was already a Brewer, so they weren't going to do that. But Peralta's a safe pitcher, and I think him going to the Rays, who are already in first place, is just huge upside for them. And I do believe it's a really, really good move, really underrated move that should be talked about more. The next move for the Rays, Liam Hicks, another very
Real
underrated.
quick on
Yeah,
Peralta. Do you have any concern, or is it Brewers or like the Rays development situation again? Where I mean, Peralta's been pretty bad, like really
yeah,
bad with the Mets. Do you have hope that he'll turn it around in Tropicana with
yeah,
a little bit better
I think he
defense?
will.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think he will. I have full confidence that the Rays are just going to be.
Figure it out.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Cool.
But yeah, next player is Liam Hicks. Very, very underrated get for the Rays. They've had decent catcher production, more guys that hit for average behind the dish. But acquiring a catcher, let alone someone that kind of to me significantly upgrades their offensive upside, is huge, especially being a left-handed bat. Hicks having a breakout year and is a fun player because all he does is just hit. He has a low K percentage, around 14%, walks at a 10% rate. Um, and I think he's going to keep it up with the Rays. I think Tropicana is a better hitting ballpark than Miami. Might be a hot take there. They're both pretty big ballparks. But he's already showing nice upside with the Rays. I've seen some video, not too aware of the stats as of right now, but every time I go on Twitter, I see the Rays account always posting him, and he has pretty good swing. So I think it's a really underrated get for the Rays. But either way, they did a good job upgrading a position that they were kind of lacking in. And then this trade right here was super fun. I think it's the best addition alongside Peralta. Tyler Wells from the Orioles. Wells has been an interesting player throughout his time with the Orioles. He's been in the starter role. He's been injured a ton. And then from there, he went from a relief to a closer role. The stuff to me has always been there. And again, he lands in a spot where he could excel at a high rate going to the Rays pitching system. In 2026, he's having a career. Wells is having a career year in some key stats categories such as FIP, ERA, and overall WAR. This is to me a fun get for the Rays, and he's honestly going to have a huge role and be a high impact player if he can stay healthy. So for me, he could be a guy that you come in high leverage 7th inning. He's also good enough to close a game as well. I think the Rays have a ton of options when it comes to that closer role too. So it's nice that they're going to be able to flip some guys in big moments, and it's kind of a luxury that they have going into the postseason with that offense as well. So they're a super fun team to watch in the postseason. Um, so the Rays traded with 3 teams. My favorite prospect dealt was Braden Taylor from the Rays to the Marlins. Taylor's a former first round pick from 2023. He's had a steady minor league career, but was having a career year in 2026. Currently has a 133 WRC plus. Is hitting 273 with 17 home runs and 22 stolen bags. So to me, like I said earlier, I love the guys that are able to hit home runs and steal bases. So guys are for sure going to be 2020 guys. I do like the profile, and the Marlins development system is pretty decent, I'd say. The Marlins do like to find these type of players, and more so on the underrated side, and kind of just turn them around and make them somewhat productive at the big league level, like we've seen it with Otto Lopez, for example. So overall thoughts, I think each trade that the Rays made with different teams, I'd favor their side the most. So I think they did a great job at this deadline, and I think they're putting themselves in the best position possible to win. And we know they are more of a lower budget team and don't really pay big salaries. So I think they're here to win, and these moves show that.
Yeah, I think the big one for me was the Liam Hicks move, man. I love that move for them. I was surprised the Marlins let that guy go. I mean, I think does he still have control?
I'm not too sure. If I had to assume, I'm gonna say yes, but just not cut you off. I think it makes sense from the Marlins end because Joe Mack was it's really breaking out right now,
Okay.
and they still have wow, his name's blanking. The guy from last year who came up and was really good, but this year he's having a down year. Sorry, I can't think of his name. But they have 2 catchers that are more than serviceable and that could fill that spot easily. So it makes sense. But I agree, like still a pretty good player. But they did get a good player out of that from the Rays. So happy to see them get Braden Taylor. But yeah, not wrong on your point as well.
It was Augustin Ramirez, right?
Yeah, dude, he was a dog last year.
Yeah, he did break out last year.
I mean, for a catcher, he almost hit 2020. Or he might have actually.
Yeah, but just going back to Hicks, you're right. Yeah, I know Mac was a guy that organization's been talking about for a while too. But dude, you said it, man. Liam Hicks that dude just hits the baseball. He just rakes. We're offensive guys.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
but I mean, dude, in his first 8 games with Tampa Bay, man, he's got 2 home runs and 9 RBIs. Like he is doing exactly what he was doing in Miami, but with Tampa Bay. Great get for them, especially since Tampa Bay, dude, despite how great they've been with their development and their prospects and getting the most out of their guys at the major league level, which is at the end of the day the goal. Catching wise, they have kind of failed. Catching wise, they have failed.
yeah.
They have not been successful. I don't know the last time they've had like an all-star homegrown catcher, but it's been a while. I think the fact that they were great suitors for Arise, Ray, and even Skubal, and they didn't get all three of those, and they were still able to pull something off like this, just shows these front office. It's in the Rays' blood to just find ways to make their team better. And I mean, they've got the best record in Major League Baseball right now. Like they know this is as close as they've been to sniffing a World Series since they hooked Blake Snell in
Mm,
2020.
that was
Like
bad.
I hate to bring that up when I'm trying to glaze them a bit and hype them up, but like
That was bad. That
bring
was bad.
this is legit. This is a really good Rays team. Like this is exciting times. This is exciting times, and this deadline was a testament to that.
Mhm.
They bet on themselves.
Agreed.
That's what we want
Agreed.
to see.
Hopefully they make better decisions when it's time.
Hey, we learn from our mistakes, man. We learn from our mistakes. You know what? Let's take a quick break. Let's take a quick
Okay.
break. All right, we'll be back right after the break. All right, welcome back. We're at the tail end. My next team, my final team, is going to be the Toronto Blue Jays. I thought their trade, their deadline overall, very interesting. I was very interested and very impressed by this team. I mean, you're an out away from the World Series, man. You are a hard fly ball in the left center field away from winning the World Series. And they got dogged twice. And they lost Bo Bichette, but they have Ernie Clement. And they're ready to bounce back. They go sign Dylan Cease. And dude, no one wants to hit. No one wants to hit on this team. What are you going to do at the deadline? Are you going to sell or are you going to buy? Great question, Gabe. They did both. First move they make was they get rid of expiring contract Kevin Gausman. Thank you for your service, Kevin. You're an awesome starting pitcher. We're sending you to the Cubs, who need a starting pitcher. And in return, they get Brett Bateman, their number 20 prospect, outfielder, and infield prospect Ty Southasine. Excuse me, Mr. Southasine, if I'm incorrect here. Their number 17 prospect. So not a crazy return, but you get an expiring contract. It's a big. Gosman's getting paid pretty handsomely, and he's got a 4.29 ERA and 24 starts. Not going to blow you off, but you get him off the books. Blue Jays are apparently sellers now, Gabe. They're sellers. Not the case. They straight call up Anaheim, and who's been talking shop with Jose Soriano, a starting pitcher who's totally hit the scene and looks like he's got some of the best stuff in the league, and a promising young arm as well, who still has years of control through 2028. Soriano, a 3.24 ERA and 23 game starts. He's kind of cooled off a little bit as of recently due to his hot start, but still an elite arm. 6 strikeouts per 9. Came at a price, though. They give up one of their top prospects, Arjun Namala. They're number 2 in the organization for the Angels and number 43 in Major League Baseball, according to MLB Pipeline. They also get outfielder Eddie Micheletti Jr. and right-handed pitcher and Angel Rivera. The building block there was Arjun, but going back to Toronto, this team is good enough. This team just went to the World Series, Gabe, right?
Yep.
Bad season, little bit of a World Series hangover, sucks. You still got Vlad, okay? Still got Ernie. They also moved Varsho. I forgot to include that, but I just love what they did with this little swapperoo. They gave up a pretty talented prospect in Namala, but I just love the fact that they flipped an expiring contract Gausman and they filled those innings instead of having to go fish for someone in the offseason, which is very hit or miss and usually a very expensive way to solve problems. They go out and they take advantage of the Angels giving away Jose Soriano in their rotation with Dylan Cease the next 2 seasons, at least.
Mhm.
And they can get right back into thinking they have an awesome rotation and they just need a better offensive season from their hitters next season. I'm looking at you, Vlad Guerrero. I don't care if you made the All-Star game. You might not have deserved it. Like, you sucked this season. So flat out, he was he totally
Yeah.
underperformed this year, and he was the reason why this team is selling away their guys instead of going after big names. So,
Yeah.
like Alejandro Kirk, another name, I'll throw you out there. But this is a great example of a team taking advantage of a market, not just for going all in on this season. We think about, oh, this team should go in for this season, next season as well. Like, I think the Giants did that with Marcelo Mayer a little bit too. Like, I think
Yeah.
this was a very well thought out plan, and I think the Blue Jays deserve credit for it.
Yeah, I agree. And honestly, like you don't really see it in honestly a lot of sports too much, but I wish more teams can do what the Blue Jays did or should do what the Blue Jays did. I mean, to be able to, for one, keep the fan base involved and engaged, like, oh my gosh, like we're trading this guy, but we're getting this guy back, and he's going to be in a rotation immediately, and he has upside. And if that was the same thing for if it was an incoming bat instead of a pitcher, like, dude, that's so fun as a fan. But from the baseball end, it just makes so much sense. So really cool to see that happen at this professional level.
All right, Gabe,
Yep.
what's your next move?
I'll keep it short here. I honestly did like what the Yankees addressed this deadline. Uh, Obviously, Luis Garcia, not really much to say. He's had 3 really good seasons in a row. But the Yanks are getting him in his best season. He currently has 26 home runs, 78 RBIs, and a 134 WRC C plus with a 5.55 slug. Just an overall good move by the Yankees. To me, they didn't really give too much to get him. And it's always nice to get a proven bat that's pretty young, and it's definitely a fun add to this lineup, especially with the short porch. So just a smart addition by Cashman. And then, oh man, on my notes for Heliot Ramos, I have Wing It. Heliot Ramos, the past 2 years, I think the stats kind of overshadow him as a true player. And I guess to make it make sense, yes, he hit 20 plus home runs in back to back seasons, but there are just a lot of times where he just couldn't hit the baseball and hit some nasty slumps and just not as consistent as you wanted him to be. But yes, if you go ahead and look at the stats, you'd be like, okay, this guy's pretty decent. And I think the Yankees are going to think the same of him. I think the upside that he brings is control to the Yankees and still ability to hit at least 20 home runs a season, especially in a smaller ballpark. So if I'm a Yankees fan, I'm cool with Ramos. There's obviously the defensive stuff that they're gonna have to worry about, but can't really complain about getting a 20 home run bat at least on a guarantee. So if he's not producing at least 20 home runs a year, it's definitely just like a wash. But they need offensive help. I still think they need to address some more things in their bullpen. But not having Judge right now is a bit tough. They're definitely a team that can get some W's in the playoffs, and they can go pretty deep. You never know in a weaker AL as well. But it's tough to really feel if the Yankees have enough juice to get it going. Looking at the outside in, there's just something about them that just doesn't scream winners this year. So that's my take on the Yankees.
Yeah, they've had that. I was surprised. Were you surprised they didn't trade Volpe?
Interesting, because you don't really want to get rid of him. He's still shown some success. He's been pretty bad, but he's shown some success at that level. And I still think it's a shortstop position. I feel like the shortstop position's very premier still. And you don't really want to get rid of him. And that's more of an off-season thing to do. Like Lombard's come in and really had nice upside, but you never know what can happen. Personally, I think it's if a team were to get a flyer on Volpe, that'd be a really good thing. Like, dude, you never know. Volpe might need to change the scenery because, dude, well, it's a lot of pressure over there in New York, especially because he's from there and they had high hopes for him. So it's definitely tough. But it's also not an excuse either. Like, he was a really good prospect, and if he's not producing, he's not producing. But yeah, that's a good point. I mean, they might trade him one day, they might DFA him one day. Who knows what's gonna happen? But as of right now, all he has to do is show some upside in the minors, and he could be back up at any moment. And I mean, the third baseman position is very old. I mean, Ryan McMahon's pretty old, so you never know. One of those guys can switch over to third base. But yeah, that's my take on the Yankees. I think they just did what they could and kind of just going with the flow, in my opinion. They didn't really scream like winners at any point this season, though, to me.
I mean, their biggest need was catching, right? And like a right-handed bat. They got that from Ramos. Like he's
Yeah,
one of the
yeah.
better right-handed hitters versus lefties. So that's a positive. But like, yeah, like going back to Volpe, man, Lombard, first couple weeks of the pros, sitting 270 with a couple bombs. Like he's fitting great.
And playing
Plus,
defense.
and playing
Playing defense.
defense. Yes. Which was like the biggest reason
Yeah,
they
terrible.
they kind of went back and forth with Caballero and Volpe, right? With the
Caballero's
whole
pretty good too.
huh?
He's pretty good. Caballero's pretty good too.
No,
Jose,
he's been great. Yeah, he's been
he's
great.
solid.
They got another great example of someone who was acquired from like a deadline piece as more of like a base runner and found his way into the lineup. Like, look at that, getting use out of their guys. Like that's what the deadline's for. Yes, there's some aggressiveness in trying to win it that year, but there's another season to be played. So, yeah, I thought the Luis Garcia get was awesome. I mean, to fit in that ballpark, he's gonna love it there. I mean, dude, his numbers are crazy. His numbers are wild to look at, man. Like I saw him step in the box and with his pinstripes on that left-handed box, and he just missed a home run. Like he hit a deep right center field, just missed one. But dude, that man, you read off the numbers. Like read those again.
26 home runs, 78 RBIs, a 134 WRC plus, and a 5.55 slug. And there's plenty of stats. He's having a career in any statistic. And
Dude,
it's not
he's
even
gonna
the
hit
season's not over yet.
35. He's gonna hit 35 plus, 30 plus. Was that 27? He's 8.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's Juan Soto reincarnated,
Yeah,
pretty much.
dude, with 100
Yeah,
RBIs, like sign me up. Did you see that
yeah,
play at first base he made over the shoulder and like shallow
yeah,
right field? Total Willie Mays going grab. Like, dude, I think that's a great fit, man. That's gonna be an
yeah. I don't
awesome.
really know what the Nats are doing there. Like, why? I mean, he
Yeah,
might not
I
have
mean, I guess
control.
they could get some value from it, like the return
Yeah,
would
I
go
didn't
for.
really look at the return. I just when I saw the names, it didn't scream anything crazy, but you never know. So,
All right, let's go to our
yeah,
winner real quick, and then we'll wrap
yeah,
things up.
yeah,
Our winner. Should we not just let's not do the Dodgers? I
yeah.
don't the
They were my
Dodgers.
pick anyways. They were my
I
pick.
don't want to do the Dodgers.
Mentioned it earlier, but I think the Rays. I think this offense, first of all, is really fun. They have guys that could do it all. I think Camarero is tied for the major league lead in home runs, which is pretty crazy. Considering he's only pretty much in his third year, in my opinion. Technically, it's the second because, to me at least, because he hasn't really played. He didn't really play his first 2 years, due to being injured and called up between the minors, etc. But this offense is fun. They have guys that can do it all. Do it all. They got speed. They have contact hitters, and they got guys that hit plenty of home runs. And their pitching staff was already really good. They have Ian Seymour. They still have Shane McClanahan. You got Peralta to the mix, and then can't think of. Oh, they have Nick Martinez, who's been dominating all year long, and you add Peralta to the mix. You upgrade the catcher position, both defensively and offensively, and then you get a very good arm in Tyler Wells. I mean, this team. I'm gonna put myself out there again and just take a risk here. I think they can win it all. They're that good. They can beat any team on any given day, and they're doing it in the right way. Obviously, there's no quote unquote right way to do it, but um, you know, they're building from the ground up, making underrated signings, making cheap signings, but also making most out of the players they acquire and have in their system. And they're going to be really fun to watch in the postseason. I have really high hopes for them, and I hope this postseason they can really go deep because they are a fun team to watch. So they are my
Yeah,
winners for the deadline.
I agree. That's the rewinds and Gabe and I's winners at the deadline, right? Tampa Bay Rays. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head, man. Peralta is gonna. I think he's gonna fit in great. I know he hasn't had the ideal start. I think of his first two starts. One of them was in Sacramento, though, so I throw that away immediately. Uh, but yeah, dude. I mean, the way that top of the lineup gets on base, Caminero above north of a 350 on base percentage. Yandy Diaz is a hitting machine. Simpson likes to get on base. I think he's more towards the back of the order. But you add it again. Liam Hicks. I'll go to my guy. RBI machine, dude. He's got 70 plus RBIs this year, and you're gonna put him behind. Same thing as Luis Ariz. Put him behind guys who get on base. And that is just how you get runs, man. And that is the name of the game. And add that to what they've been doing on the bump this year. Nick Martinez, where did he come from, man? He just threw a complete game shutout, I think. Like, he just threw a complete game in Las
Dude.
Vegas. No, it's not Las Vegas. Sacramento. Like,
yeah,
dude,
they
no
can do it
one
all,
does
dude. They can do it all, bro. They're a fun team, and I'm really rooting for them.
Oh,
So,
all right. Well, Atlanta Braves, you're a loser of the deadline, even though they're above 70 wins. They might be fine. Who knows? But the Tampa Bay Rays are the winners of the 2026 deadline, according to the Rewind Pod. Gabe, thanks a million, man, for being on. This was a fun episode. It was
Definitely
good to go bounce around teams.
Yep, it was. And there's still plenty of teams that had good deadlines. It's just tough to cover it in one episode.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe we'll revisit it. We'll do a postseason pod or something like that.
Oh, like picks. Picks would be fun.
Yeah. All right. I like that.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Love it. Yeah, we'll have Gabe back on. He's super knowledgeable about prospects and just the league in general. Great to talk ball with.
Likewise,
follow
brother.
Gabe on Twitter. Gabe Prep Scout.
Yep.
Right? Yep. Gabe Prep Scout. It's also going to be in the episode description as well. Thank you all for listening. Be sure to check out Rewind content all over the place now. You can listen to us on Spotify, Amazon Music. You can watch us from clip segments on Instagram at the rewind_pod or on TikTok now as of Tuesday. The Rewind podcast with Spencer Tracy. You can find us all over the place. Thank you all for your support. Thank you all for listening. And we will see you for the next episode.